Good morning. Welcome back to Divinity 648. My name is Christina. I'm a high vibrational energy intuitive. This is morning messages for January the 20th, 2022. It is 6:29 in the morning. So, morning messages is still about that undoing the harshness and finding that innocence within self, right? That energy that is coming through is not just the innocence within yourself, but the remembrance, right? Remembering what it was like to be younger, remembering what your um, life was like before you turned um, hard, what it took to turn you hard. It's those it's those memories that need to be addressed so that way karmic cycles can unfold differently for the next generation, right? So, one of the things I learned recently was how to bring up karmic cycles that have completed incorrectly or completed in an unsatisfactory way, and how to work with the energy in the mind, in the intellectual state, so that way when they come back up again for the next generation, you can handle them. It will be handled differently, right? So I'm still learning that you can bring up karmic cycles that were closed out and still work with that energy. So that way, the next time those karmic cycles repeat, which would more than likely be with the next generation, they don't unfold as drastically. They don't unfold as they could or they would, had you not go back and revisit that energy. So it's really important to think about past actions, past relationships, past um, events, and the ones that your mind, your soul still wants to, the ones that are still a trigger, even the ones that are not triggers. If they were a serious karmic event for you, and you could have closed things off better, or there was red flags that you ignored, you can go back into that energy and work with it some more. Remember those red flags, remember those moments that affected you mentally and emotionally as they were affecting you, and try to run. It doesn't matter. The point of the point of morning messages is there's a lot of karmic cycles that got closed out. Some got closed out in a way that did not allow you um, or the other person to both end things on a beneficial note, right? It's always important to, excuse me, it's always important to end things as clean as possible. Sometimes you can't because the other person involved is just not on a level that would allow for a clean slate to be the way that things are left off, right? Some people hold on to pain, they hold on to anguish, they hold on to anything that allows them to remain in a victim state mentality, um, which is very toxic, not just for them, but for you as well. So, the way that you would clean up that karmic cycle is to go back to that event and speak your truth to that individual in meditation or in the dream state, and apologize for your part, even if you feel like you've done nothing wrong, and apologize to them for allowing themselves to feel that way, even if they're not ready to stop being the victim. um, and put it in light, put it in healing, write that person a letter and then burn it. Basically just releasing the energy of the situation, or surround the whole situation in light. Work with selenite when you're doing it too, right? Like, just kind of put how did my guide say? So it was kind of like you put your left hand out, because that's your spiritual hand, and you picture an orb in your hand, or like a crystal ball, and you picture almost like a snow globe type situation where you could see things inside of it, or you could see the event inside of it. And then you just illuminate the ball with a really bright, bright, bright light. And I mean white, platinum, beautiful light. Um, so much that it replicates the light that you see in the YouTube video 12D shielding that's on my public playlist under Divinity 648 on YouTube. Um, you wanna surround that ball in that 12D shielding, and you wanna pray over it. I send healing, I send forgiveness, I cut cords from this event so it no longer affects that person or myself. Um, I close this in love and light, and I ask the divine not to allow this to repeat for the future generations that are to come. Um, and that's how you can pretty much close out karmic cycles that weren't closed correctly, that you definitely don't want to repeat for the next generation, or even for yourself if you're still working through karmic cycles. There's been a lot of deja vu energy around too. I've noticed for the last 4 days, I've had a lot of deja vu moments where it's like, okay, seen this somehow, some way, one of my precognitive moments, why didn't I write this shit down kind of thing, which means that it must have felt really minute. Um, so these moments, these days must be triggering certain individuals to feel like they're going through deja vu, or they dreamt about this, they're not really sure why. There's a lot of those moments. And the fact that I didn't journal about the ones that I've been experiencing tells me they're probably from dreams that you woke up from and couldn't remember. And then all of a sudden you started remembering those dreams and writing them down. So these are like time stamps that are letting you know you're getting closer and closer to a certain event. So you want to check your journaling, you want to check your notes, you want to trust what you're feeling. If you're getting that deja vu vibe, pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to the cars that are around you, pay attention to the things that people are saying. Have your eyes open. Um, I also got I also got a reminder, you know, watch the children closer. Watch the children closer. Um, if you have children, you want to make sure you're paying attention to them more. What are their habits? What are their routines? What are they up to? What are they doing? What's unsafe? What's safe? Who's around them? Who's unsafe? Um, and of course, always pray to the divine for assistance, right? And take action. Um, it's important to know who your children's friends are. It's important to know where they're going. It's important to know who's there when they're going there. Not everyone thinks like most, right? There's actual adults out there who have not matured. There's actual adults out there who don't have good intentions for other people's children. So you can't necessarily always trust. I remember I had a neighbor who had somebody else's daughter with her, and the daughter had strict religious beliefs within her household. So the neighbor lied to the mother, saying that they were going to be in the house doing nothing, and then took the daughter shopping, bought her high heels, and I mean like heels that I would wear to a club style, like not little heels either, like the full heel, in these short dresses to match her daughters, and sent them off to a house party. Me personally, I need to know where my kid is at all times, especially when it comes to a house party, because there's drinking, there's drugs, there's sex. I need to know my kid's going to be okay. There's reasons why parents don't allow their children to do certain things, especially if they're very spiritual, and have strict religious faith. It is not somebody else's household or job or authority to violate the rules of someone's home and do things that they shouldn't be doing. And ever since I saw that in that person, I realized that that person wasn't a friend that I wanted around my children because I didn't trust them anymore. The fact that you took a phone call and lied to another mother just so children could go and, while she may have thought it was innocent, it was not. Um, and I'm bringing this up because there's adults out there who don't know how to adult properly. There's adults out there who do not respect religious factors and spiritual beliefs or strict parenting to keep their child from certain external influences that would be triggers for past karmic cycles and would allow for opportunities that um, the parents want to protect the children from. I mean, me personally, I don't think I would accept that, period. And if I ever found out that that happened to me, it would not be okay. It would not end with a, you never go into that house again. It would definitely be a lot more than that. So I think it's important that people are paying attention to their children. And I don't know why that example or that situation came up, but that's the first thing that came through my mouth when I needed to give an example as to how you need to watch your kids. So if you have kids at that age and they're going to a friend a lot and they prefer to be there more often than not, and they're always a little different when they come back, um, you need to pay attention to that. And for some people, it's not even strangers or neighbors. It's the other parent. It's watch your kid with the other parent. Is the other parent trying to buy that affection? Is the other parent trying to, well, if you lived with me, I would let you do this. If you lived with me, I would allow for that. Meanwhile, the parent probably was absent 90% of the child's life and doesn't have their shit together to maintain a stabilized living situation for that child, and therefore just wants to wreak havoc in your life by influencing that child to think that you're the bad parent. Which and I get it. Some parents want to be that good parent. Some parents work really hard to not be the bad parent. And that's a big no no, right? Big no no, because at the end of the day, I'd rather be the bad parent, the piece of shit mom, the bum bitch who doesn't let their kid do whatever the freak she wants, who will not allow their kid to be victimized or influenced by individuals who aren't going down the right track, right? I'll be damned if a grown ass woman or man pursues my daughter and I just sit back watching Netflix. Are you fucking nuts? You know? If I have a minor and there's a grown ass man pursuing my daughter, you better know I'm not just having the mom pants on. I'm wearing the daddy boots too, and I'll shove my boot up somebody's ass. And I'm saying this because this is the energy that you're in. Somebody somewhere is dealing with this, and I completely can understand it because I've already been there, done that. 90% of the time, um, I've already been there, done that somehow, some way, or watched somebody else go through it. So you definitely want to get on top of your kid. You definitely want to know who they're around. You definitely want to pay attention to the alcohol and the weed and the types of weed and where they're getting it from. There's things to be worried about, right? Because indica is not good for children. Indica is not even good for adults. You want to, if your child or you are smoking cannabis, you do want to stick to sativa. Indica is the low vibration of the earth. It's the lower frequency of energy, which would be dark night of the soul, working through pain. That's why you get hit so hard and you're grounded so hard. And it's that I can't move state. 9 out of 10, if you didn't put yourself in white light before you smoked, you can't move because you're allowing something to feed off of you. It really upsets me that people don't, understand that cannabis is associated with divination, which means when you smoke, you are opening portals. And if you're smoking a little lower vibrational stuff, you're working with lower vibrational entities. There's a reason why cannabis affects us the way that it does. Whereas if you're smoking sativa, you're bouncing off that couch, you're very creative, you want to get shit done. Um, you probably do your best work, you can focus and all this otherness. You're working with the high vibration of the earth. You're stimulating parts of your brain that don't typically get any type of activity. Um, And you want to work on that. You want to focus on that. You want to manifest with that energy. You want to think about your life and your goals and where you want to be. You don't want to be stuck on a couch, glued there, like you can't move. There's the hello, that's red flag, warning. I mean, if you're in pain and need to rest, that's what CBD's for. You don't need indica for that. So pay attention to what you're doing. Indica is like drinking hard alcohol or mixing your alcohol. The primary ingredient for alcohol is death, death of fruit, death of foods, death of something. So when you're drinking alcohol, people always say, oh, you act so different. It's like you're a different person. Yeah, no shit. Again, alcohol is a divination tool, just like weed is. And the alcohol and the indica are low vibrational divination tools, which puts you with low vibrational energy. And if you're not grounded, you're not protected, you're allowing that external influence to inhabit you and influence you and be in your immediate space. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Um, so you definitely want to be paying attention. There's a reason why parents don't want their kids drinking. Children should not be drinking. They should not be smoking indica. It is not good because of the fact that they're not, first of all, children are high vibrational. Their energy is less tainted, less influenced. So when they're under the influence, they're more desirable because their flame is brighter, right? More entities and more energies can find their way to them because of their energy being so high vibe as they're younger. The younger they are, the more vibrational output comes from them. So it's so important to always pray over your kids, put your kids in protection, pay attention to what's going on before it bites you in the ass, because things do get out of control. They do get older, and they don't want to change after a while. So stay on it. Other morning messages was basically just opening your eyes, paying attention to cycles, um, paying attention to retrograde, right? You want to do things with contracts. You don't necessarily want to do things, when you're doing things with contracts, you want to pay attention. You want to, sorry, things come in reverse when I'm dealing with very high energy. So you want to pay attention to the fine print of the contracts. If you're signing a lease somewhere, you want to pay attention to things. You want to ask all of the questions up front. Um, let's say it's a tenancy lease, right? Massachusetts has masslegalhelp.com where it runs through all of your tenancy rights, the do's and the don'ts, what you should know when renting. You want to do that inspection. You want to look for damages up front, make sure that you're not pinned for it later. Take logs, keep record, just as you would if you were a property manager, because you are responsible for that property the whole time you live there. So you should have thorough records as if you are a property manager. You want to be on point all the time, especially in 2022, because karmic cycles and karmic energy is influenced on a different level this time around, right? This is a different vibration. So before we were vibrating at the number 5, right? Transformative energy change. So you were going through things that were getting you ready for a massive change. Now we're vibrating with the number 6. That's that transformation or that transition energy, transformative into transitioning energy that allows you to adjust to the changes that were made in your life. Learn from past things that you've already been through so you don't go through them again. Um, what else? That's pretty it. That's going to be it for morning messages. The rest of the stuff is really more like convos with the cosmos, and that's kind of for me. And I only once in a while want to share things like that with you guys, because spiritual awakening, oh, by the way, it's 6:48 in the morning. Um, and it's 1919 into the session. So convos with the cosmos are for people who are of high vibration, who understand that sativa is a divination tool, who know how to bend realms, who know about being high vibe and all that that entails. And spiritual awakening, you know, listen, listen. You don't teach spiritual awakening. Your spirit guides, your ancestors are going to work with you internally. That's what spiritual awakening is about. It's when you tap into your spirituality and you allow it to unfold. I can offer books, I can offer resources to get you started okay, let me start reading this and see if my spirit guides jump on page with this, but everybody learns different parts of spirituality in different ways based off of their ancestral court, based off of what they're here for, if they're even here for any type of, um, you know, like for me, I'm high vibe. I've got a very big lineage. Um, I'm here to do more than just healing, more than just, you know, channeling. But I'm not here to teach people everything that I've experienced and learned. I can express my understanding in the things that I've learned and share some knowledge, just so that way people understand that this is not something to be afraid of. It's not something to shut down. It's not something to run from. Spirituality is so beautiful and it's so powerful. And, there's no history like your ancestors' history. We go to school and we learn the history that the government wants us to learn as it's relevant for whatever purposes that they feel fit. But going inward into your spirituality and activating your DNA by balancing out and maintaining chakras and cleansing the aura and doing all those things and really stepping into your lineage, the things that you get taught come from your ancestors. If I teach you things that are not from your ancestry, one, it probably won't work for you. And if it does work for you, it's not for you to embody that energy. That's not how this works, right? Think of like the last airbender. They had the water tribe, they had the fire tribe, they had all these things. The airbenders, the waterbenders, all those things. Um, And they pretty much mastered those elements and maintained those elements. And only one chosen one was allowed to maintain all elements and do all things. And it wasn't even so much that the average individual wasn't allowed to, they just weren't capable of it, right? Only like a chosen one was capable of embodying so much power. Um, it's not exactly like that, but it's not too far off either. Ancient Japanese teachings and Chinese traditions and ancient Egyptian knowledge, um, those things are things that you want to step into. But of course, the first thing you want to do is tap into your own lineage, your own ancestries, and allow your ancestors to teach you the morals, the values, and the principles of their lineage, their background, right? Like I am heavy with Japanese energy right now. I tapped into that a while ago. They gave me a taste of it, and then I went and worked with Egyptian stuff, and then I was on to the Scandinavian side, and then dude, you serious? Yep, karma. Excuse me. I got distracted by the weather, um, and other things. So it's important for you. It's important for you to pay attention to what you're being taught internally. Um, that's so critical. It is so important and it is so critical. Um, if you, sorry, I have the garbage truck outside and it's so loud. So when I'm saying, dude, are you serious? It's like, oh, I need to wrap this up because the day is starting and we really need to get going. Um, Stick with your lineage, stick with your teachings, and then branch off from there. when you defy that and you step out of order, you get distracted, right? That's that whole religious thing. You get distracted, and you don't unfold the way that you're supposed to unfold. It's like the rose that didn't completely blossom, or the flower that didn't grow all of the appropriate leaves. Um, you want to stay in alignment with your teachings. So, ancestral knowledge, ancestral wisdom is how you spiritually unfold. 30 minutes a day. Start with your closer relatives that you've met and ask them to introduce you to the other ones. Learn who your spirit guide is. Spend some time trying to learn your spirit guide. Challenge your intuition. Light a white candle, hold that white candle in front of you or near you, burn an incense. Nag Champa is amazing for ancestral work. Have a seat and do the 30 minutes with your eyes closed and focus on someone that you trust, that you've met, and ask them to show you who your spirit guides are, or ask your spirit guides who've known you your entire life. Hey, come through, come talk to me. Listen to the messages, picture the symbols that come through, write them down, pay attention, right? Because you'll go to the gas station, see one of the symbols next to a word, write that shit down. Or they'll say something to you, or you'll get a song in your head, and then when you play it, certain parts of it jump out at you. So do what you got to do the work, don't mess up, but don't try to take other people's paths. you know every time I tried to sign up for a class at a spiritualist church, it was really hard for me. There was maybe one or two that I actually got to attend. um, but every other one, no matter how bad I wanted to go, I could never make it there. And I noticed that I would start skipping them and just sit home and go within and learn my own stuff. And the experience was just so it was beautiful. It was so much better than going to a classroom and learning something that was external to my ancestors. When you're learning with your ancestors, you activate your DNA, which really brings in the abilities and the stuff that you're meant to embody, which would then be the catalyst for expansion and growth in other areas of your life. I can't express that enough. And I'm saying that specifically because somebody reached out to me asking me for something, and I was just like, that's not a part of your lineage. And I didn't want to say that out loud, but it was just like, I don't teach spiritual awakening. I'm kind of just your guide. I'm kind of just here to check your skills, make sure you're balanced, make sure you're doing the work, which you're not. So for me to sit there and teach you something that you're not supposed to be learning right now, um, that's just a distraction from what you're supposed to be doing, you know? That's why it's like I hate telling people terms like light worker, empath, because are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Just because I know I'm going to be a grandmother someday doesn't make me a grandmother right now. I can't be walking around claiming I'm a grandmother without having grandmother um, situations in my life. You can't walk around and say I'm a light worker and you're not doing anything relevant to what a light worker is supposed to be doing. You know, it's like people get to the psychic medium state. They do a few things and all of a sudden they want to embody other energies and other titles. And it's like, honey, you've got to learn how to crawl before you can walk, before you can run. If you can't walk yet and you're still crawling, you can't say that you're a professional runner. You might get there someday, but you're not anywhere near there now. And a lot of people are in that energy. It's not just one or two or three or four. There's a lot of people out there who touch the psychic energy, got a taste of the mediumship, um, know that they're capable of it, but don't want to do all the work. They want to just fast forward ahead. You don't understand how important it is to go through the awakening process. It's like building a transmission. You don't just throw a fucking transmission in a car without rebuilding it. Otherwise, you're going to have the same freaking problems. Or it's just not going to run. It's not going to work. Right? You got to go through the motions. You got to take that shit apart. You got to replace the seals. You got to lubricate shit. Clean things out. Replace the bolts. There's a process to it. And that's it. So, morning messages. Stop running or trying to run before you even learned how to walk. You know, do the work. Stop looking for an easy way out. And red flag for you, if you're looking for an easy way out, if you're looking for people to teach you things and just give you the knowledge and give you the energy, you're not a light worker, period. You could have been, you probably should be, but you're not even close. Because light workers, they don't want the easy way out. They want those karmic lessons. They want to learn. They want to meet their ancestors. They want to experience all of that stuff. And if you're not on that level by now, maybe next lifetime, maybe in 20 years, maybe as you become an actual grandmother, you'll finally step into that energy. But we're on certain vibes, we're on certain vibrations, we're on certain flows of things. And sometimes you're slowed down or unable to do certain things because of past life stuff. And that's okay. You know, it's like starting from scratch. And then the next lifetime you'll remember much more and be more amped to do things the appropriate way. Um, but light workers, empaths, they're waking up and they know what they're experiencing. Okay. They're not worried about craft. They're not worried about men. Light workers in general right now are not even thinking about the opposite sex as a dominant, responsible uh, thing on their list. It's not a dominant priority. It's on the list. You know, they're at the top of the list. But being true to who they are inside is dominant, you know, than physical stuff. You know, you're not entertaining multiple partners. You're not walking around half naked. You're not posting pictures of yourself in just a bra and panty, thinking you're some divine goddess, because you're not. Divine feminines have morals, they have values, they have standards, they have ethics. You know, it's okay to show some skin, it's okay to show some cleavage, but make no mistake, they're not full blown just walking around in fishnet with a bra and panty, grinding on people in clubs and twerking and doing all of that otherness. I don't care what anybody says, I'm not being judgmental, I'm making it very clear. When you work with high vibrational energy, they don't entertain that shit. They don't entertain alcohol at all. Mm-mm. No, they don't. No, they don't. Alcohol drops your vibration down drastically. You know, wine every now and then, or a nice mixed cocktail every now and then is acceptable, especially if you do the work and you clean yourself afterwards. But, you know, every Friday running to the club, every month, you know, 3 times a month, that's not divine feminine, divine masculine environment and energy. Okay, that's not where, you know, that's like expecting a rose to grow in the environment of a lotus flower. It's just not fucking happening. Okay, so that's morning messages. It's 33 minutes 25 seconds in, 7:02 in the morning.